we ultimately get to take ideas and help them travel farther. And when those ideas are things that are important to the future of the human race and the world, then that's just especially awesome.
I'm Roger Sant, and I have a career that spans business and government and philanthropy. The energy crisis in '73 was the beginning of our concern about energy. So I've been fortunate enough to kind of live through that period first as a government bureaucrat, and secondly as an entrepreneur, as somebody starting a company, and then ultimately as a philanthropist. So I've had a perspective on all three.
I'm Lex Sant, and I'm Roger Sant's son, and I grew up around a lot of these topics, and so it's a natural combination that when my dad felt like he had some important things he wanted to say, that I was involved in trying to help him. So as we tried to develop that story and did several versions of it, it became increasingly clear that for us to do the kind of job we wanted to do, that getting the right people involved would be really helpful, and Duarte was a wonderful place for us to land.
Roger's talk specifically asks the world to consider using a carbon tax to reduce the carbon challenge that we have in our environment.
My presentation before was sort of data-driven. It was principally looking at 40 years of energy policy history and trying to trace that in a data sense.
They had a pile of data. What they even felt was missing before they came to us was a story that united all of that together in a compelling way for their audiences. So that's where we start with any presentation, is how do we move that audience? How do we take that data and put it into a form and a container and a story that compels the audience to see a new way of thinking about the world.
Going to the discovery meeting, we were able to hang 30 different mood boards up. Mood boards are essentially, they're a collection of found inspiration, and it's everything from illustration to photography to iconography to textures to data that when grouped together, they create this certain visual style. It was a good sort of way for us to be able to identify what elements were working well with them, as well as some of the elements that may not be working well. And from there, we were able to gain sort of ammunition moving forward into creating the visual styles and knowing what his personal aesthetic was.
Duarte just blew me away by, in our first session, of getting so clearly what was said there in a way that I think not only was I impressed, but my whole team.
Later, we began to see the ways in which Duarte worked with us to shape that content so that it was ours, not theirs.
Because the topic is so detailed and there's so much information, we felt that just one 45-minute talk wasn't enough.
So we took that original story that we had then trimmed down, and now we expanded it out into written prose, into a what we call a slide doc.
And a slide doc was a perfect complement to leave behind to an audience, give them more details, let them learn more, and continue to crave to want more information.
The rewarding feeling came to be able to be a part of this bigger cause of spreading this awareness of the carbon problem.
We got a message here, how best to present it, and that was a pretty fun process to go through.
Duarte understands what we're doing in a way that makes us say it better. And the way of communicating that is so contagious and creates such enthusiasm that we do better work.